Thank you very much. You wouldn't believe it, but the reason we're all so nervous up here, I think, is because we've received numerous phone calls from the organizers telling us you've got half a minute to make your speech. And last night, all we were saying is, how the heck are we going to do it in half a minute? Because there's just too many people to thank for a wonderful career that I've had. And by the way, I'm very honored to be in the same class as these wonderful athletes here today. And of course, the member builders and the team recipients as well. When you have a career as long as mine has gone, and all my teammates, my current teammates will remind you of that if you ask them, you certainly have a lot of people to thank. And I'd have to start with, and most of the people that I will thank are regular folk, because I think that's basically what I am. And they've certainly done their bit to help me. I have to begin by, first of all, thanking the Manitoba Soccer Association for putting up with me for so many years. They certainly helped me along the way and been supportive anytime I required their help. And I've certainly been honored to serve on the board as well in the past. I need to single out Mr. Gerald Oland for nominating me. He's quite a friend, and well, I'll just leave it at that. He's just a super friend and always someone who cares about the people that he gets involved with. I need to thank some people, and I'll just name them quickly, that had an influence in my career simply because they did the right thing at the right time and they took the initiative. And those people are people like Walter McKee, who made the phone call to the Canadian Soccer Association and made sure that they gave me a tryout when the Olympic team was in preparations. So I thank him for that. I have to thank people like Ralph Contafio, who, without all the knowledge of what was going to happen, decided to start a team called the Winnipeg Fury, which gave me a great opportunity to play in front of my hometown. I have to thank people like Bobby Cram, who is a super, super gentleman, a great coach, and he coined the phrase, at least to me, that made so much sense to me when he said, it's not your right to wear this uniform, but it's your privilege. And I carry that with me everywhere I go, that same thought, and I try to pass it on to as many people as I can, because I think it's very, very true. I need to thank people like Mario Perino, who, for all of us athletes, we know we have to deal with officials, and he certainly carried himself elegantly and with class, and he earned my respect, and he, of course, the rest of the officials did as well. I also need to thank people like Chick Devaney, who I think have exemplified honest work and hard work and how far that can take you, and he continues to do that today, and he's been a wonderful influence in my life. I also got to thank close friend Joe Gostick for always being a competitor and always putting his best foot forward whenever he had to bring a team that maybe wasn't so good, but he was always there to fight, and that was very, very good. I need to thank people like Dusan Drazic for always making the game so much fun and always finding a way to make sure that no matter how difficult it was, how much pressure there was, you would always have fun. And I could go on and on and on. I've had a lot of great teammates over the years, but I think, and I've played with so many players that have gone on to play in Europe and for our country and all over the States. I think that some of my best teammates have been my own brothers, my three brothers, who and I have to thank, obviously, in the same breath, my two best influences, my mom and dad, who, unbeknownst to us all, were real managers way back when, because when, as most people maybe not know, we're two sets of twins, 11 months apart, the four brothers. And and I think when myself and Sam, the second pair, came along, I think they looked at each other and said, because I know they always wanted us to play sports. It was obvious when we were kicking a ball when we were first born, but I think they stopped and said, they looked at each other and said, we better stop, because if we have any more, they're going to form a players association. and God knows what's going to happen next. So they had a lot of insight even back then. But they did enough to give me a great environment to grow and to play. And I don't even want to talk about how many windows and doors we broke in at the house. But my dad was always, as my mom was screaming, my dad was saying, "Don't worry about it, just keep practicing." So it was great having them and my brothers. So I never had a problem trying to train or practice or try things, because I always had an instant team always there. So they were always there and very helpful and influential in my career. I always had a great relationship with the local media. In fact, I didn't realize how predator-like they can be, in the sense that they mark their, how predators will mark their territory. Well, I'll never forget an interview I had with Mike Beauregard at CBC, and I showed up at the set, and someone said, "Well, just take a seat at the set." And so I walked over to one of the chairs, and they said, no, not that one, not that one. And I said, "Well, how come?" He goes, "That's Mike's chair." And I said, "Well," and I looked at it, and I noticed I thought, here's how this guy marks his territory. He puts a phone book on the chair. And I thought, that's pretty neat, except I didn't realize that the reason he had it there is so he could be at the same height as me when we were on doing the interview. Or was that Ann Petrie's? I'm not sure. But anyway, it's been wonderful. I'd like to thank people like Gord Mackey, who in the early years really made a difference to me. I've been so fortunate to be injury-free. He was such a great help. I used to go to his house and just at the moment's notice, and he would take care of me. And of course, all the gang at the Pan Am Clinic. So I've been very, very fortunate. I've traveled a lot. I've seen the world. I've been to really some very poor countries who are, incidentally enough, are outstanding soccer nations. But you get a real chance to see a lot of things that most people don't, and I feel very fortunate. And I always feel that my duty now is to give back, and I continue to do that. I met a gentleman last night at the reception that I thought he made me laugh, but he made me think a lot too. He said, we were talking, swapping stories. He congratulated me, and he said, "You're a worthy recipient." He was a past inductee, and he said, we swapped a couple of stories, and he said, "The older I get, the better I was." And I started laughing. I almost fell out of my chair. And I thought about it though, and today as I was driving around, I just thought, and I thought, boy, as funny as that sounds, it's also it's so true, because the symbolism in that is that it really doesn't matter what kind of story you tell. The fact of the matter is that you can tell the story because you actually went out and you took the step and you took the initiative to take a chance and chase your dream, and that's what that gentleman did. So if he tells me 100 stories, I'll listen to them all, because he obviously took the first step and he tried. And I think that's what the best thing about sports, that is the wonderful thing about sports, and it's certainly done a lot for me. So I thank you again for this great honor, and I will cherish it for life.